Did you know that there are actually 3 different North Poles on our planet? Or that reindeer antlers can grow up to 3 centimeters per day in summer? And that in Arctic winter the sun sometimes barely rises above the horizon. But when it does, the entire landscape begins to sparkle. During our last days in Lapland, we discovered all of this. But the most magical moment of our trip didn't happen during the day. It happened late at night above a frozen lake.
So Friday morning, well actually almost noontime already, minus 21 degrees Celsius, and we decided to simply walk around Rovaniemi today.
One thing that surprised us about Rovaniemi in Finland is how quickly you can escape into nature. Just a short walk from the city center lies Ounasvaara Hill, a huge winter wonderland. Winter walking, bird watching, sledging, fat biking or skiing. There's something for everyone. To be honest, I was especially intrigued by the skiing slopes. Simply because I never expected to find some there.
Tyle to nie zjedzie to.
Kurtka nie śliska.
Ale i tak nieźle.
And obviously, I wasn't the only one.
Ist da gerade mit dem Hintern runtergerutscht mit dem Rücken. Die Russen.
Have you ever heard about skiing in Rovaniemi? Let us know in the comments. Well, we also really fell in love with the Kota culture. In many places, you can find little huts, possibilities to warm up at a fire. In Rovaniemi, that's where you can meet people from all around the world. If you want to understand Lapland better, visit the Arktikum Museum. This is where we learn something fascinating.
So, Mutti, jetzt sind wir ein paar Kilometer gewandert. Wie geht's dir? Was sagst du?
Mir geht's super. War immer frei, die Wanderung. War eine tolle Wanderung. Richtig schön.
10,8 Kilometer.
10,8 Kilometer, ja. Die Kälte, ja, man gewöhnt sich dran. Der Mensch ist ein Gewohnheitstier. Ob ich das jeden Tag haben wollte, weiß ich nicht. Wir werden sehen, wenn wir wieder aufgetaut sind.
Martin, erzähl doch mal, wo sind wir denn jetzt gerade?
Im Arktikum. Über uns fliegt ein Nils Holgersson oder so, ich weiß nicht, da sitzt irgendjemand drauf.
Ich weiß nur, dass es ein interaktives Museum irgendwie sein soll.
Wissenschaftscenter Museum, ja.
Science Center Museum. Here we learned that there are actually 3 different North Poles. Did you know that? The geographic pole, magnetic North Pole, and geomagnetic North Pole. And we also learned the theoretical background behind air temperature versus felt temperatures. Life in the Arctic follows completely different rules for sure. After a long day exploring the city and the nature, we returned to a place we had already loved on our first night. Because sometimes the best travel moments are surprisingly simple. Good food, warm light and stories from the day.
Das erste haben wir uns jetzt auch verdient. Wir sind heute gut gewandert.
Aber sowas von. Ja.
But when you think that was the end of our day, you're wrong. We still had unfinished business in Lapland. Because we had come all this way and I still hadn't seen the Northern Lights.
Aber warum sieht man dich nicht jetzt? Okay, sag doch noch mal was, Oma.
Also, wir wollen jetzt die Aurora sehen. Wir wollen Nordlichter, Polarlichter, wie auch immer. Wir wollen die sehen und hoffen, dass wir einfach viel Glück haben jetzt.
Korrekt. Na los.
Auf geht's.
Auf geht's. Im Moment sehe ich nichts außer dem Licht. Also es ist schon mal lustig. Ich war auch noch nie so eingepackt wie jetzt gerade. I've never been that covered as I am right now. But that's what you do in the middle of the night in Rovaniemi in Finland in hope to see some northern lights. So come along.
Yeah, do you recall this tower? We discovered it in the afternoon on our hike. And now we had come all this way to see the Northern Lights.
Ja, ist verrückt, ne?
At some point, we even started dancing and singing songs from when we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, just to stay warm. Jambo, Jambo Bwana, Habari Gani, Suri Sana, Wageni, Wakaribishwa, Rovaniemi, Hakuna Matata. After more than 90 minutes in the freezing cold, we finally gave up. The next morning, we tried something that many visitors come to Lapland for. And even though we knew it's not authentic to the region, but a typical tourist experience, sometimes being a tourist is not such a bad thing.
So, Samstag früh, 9:30 Uhr. Was steht an?
Huskies.
Huskies?
Eine Husky-Fahrt.
Ich sehe nur Rentiere. Irgendwas stimmt da
ja,
nicht.
Die sind wahrscheinlich
Guck mal, da
warm und trocken oder so. Nein, glaube ich nicht, aber...
Das sind aber seltsame Huskies.
Yeah, alright. After having visited an authentic reindeer farm a few days ago, this reindeer behavior looked really weird to our eyes. But aren't they beautiful anyways?
Musst du gerne mal ab oder was?
Andrea?
Yep.
Yes. Great. But
So this is very, very commercialized. But we said we do this. Good morning. Good. How are you?
Paula, she will be your guide.
Go like fall with your ass and then put your legs inside. Play with the dogs and to be close to the dogs, okay? But we have to wait for all of us, then the dogs are relaxed and we can play with them, okay? So if you are ready, we can start. We are gonna start with the kids first, so then you can go quickly to the quota to be warm. So
Everything was well organized, but not picture perfect all the time. Later we learned that this was the first season of Husky Sledding for this company. And the dogs came from different places and had to get to know each other first. Just from seeing this footage, what's your opinion? Do you think this looks like a natural, good habitat for these Huskies and other dogs? To be honest, I was reminded of my teenager years, when I had a good friend with a husky and I was allowed to take care of it quite often. Her name was Chochi, and she had just as much energy as this cute fella here.
Okay, good. In a minute. In a minute.
Relaxing.
It's very peaceful when they're like this.
Yeah.
But it's not always like this. Sometimes they want to fight.
Okay, yeah.
See who's boss. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kiva.
Schön. Relaxing. Wow. Kann man wirklich auch länger machen, ne?
Ja, absolut.
That's actually quite relaxing. I didn't expect it to be that way.
Wow, wow, wonderful.
Beautiful weather, beautiful dogs, really nice people. Not too cold actually, so yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect adventure. Okay, I think now we can warm up a little bit inside. Oh. Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Beautiful.
The sun is even coming out now.
It truly felt magical, and we were so glad that we didn't miss out on this experience. And then we were happy to be able to warm up again.
Oh, das tut gut.
But the experience wasn't over yet. Whoever wanted could go and pet the Huskies. And some dogs clearly enjoyed the attention.
Magst du Belly Rubs?
Now in hindsight, I can't even say whether the Husky sledding or petting the dogs was better. But one thing is for sure, if you love animals as much as we do, this would be something for you to do as well.
Oh, you want to be petted too?
All the attention goes to the dogs every time.
So which one is the troublemaker out of this group?
Troublemaker.
Is there one?
I'd say Gilly right there.
This one? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, she's so calm.
Yeah, but she can be real trouble. And also the red one there in the back. She's so diva.
Okay.
They're the worst.
That's why you don't get pet.
Yeah.
Because you said that about the ladies. So what do you do in the summer? Do you do this with like a...
ATV.
Ah, with an ATV.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But they don't run as much.
Yeah.
They, like us people, they have summer vacation. And of course, when it's hot, they don't even want to run that much.
And how do you decide how many dogs you put in there? Like in one row? That's 10, I think, right?
Depending how many people we have to, you know.
Ah, I see.
If there's a lot of people, then more dogs, so that the workload is not so big for just a few dogs.
Yeah, okay.
And also depends what dogs we are using. If they are really strong, then we don't need that many. But if there are small dogs like this, then we have to use like 10.
Like divide the
9.
weight, yeah. Do you have a favorite?
All of them.
All of them. I know you have to say that.
No, I do have a couple of favorites. That one there getting scratched now. Gilly, she's really nice. But my ultimate favorite, she's in the kennel here.
Yeah.
Her name's Berry. She's really my favorite of all of them.
Because of a special reason?
Yeah, she's quite shy. Well, actually, there's two here that are really nice dogs. Berry and Kodiak. Kodiak he's sitting there with his chest, he's sitting there. Really chilled out dog, super nice, works really well. And then Berry lives next door to him, and she's a Euro hound, but quite a big one. She's about the same size as him, but she's also very, very chilled out. Just like the nature of the dog is just so nice.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. I like working with these dogs a lot. It's very rewarding, working with them, because we see how they change through the season, and as they get more trusting in us, they work better, and they're more confident in themselves.
Yeah. True.
And this year actually it was my first year here, and this company just started this year, so they got a whole lot of dogs from all over the place, different dogs.
Okay.
And of course, dogs are very pack orientated, so when you put a whole lot of different dogs together, you have a lot of problems.
Yeah, definitely.
But as the season's gone, the bond with us has developed. Yeah. They've developed bonds with each other, and now they're all kind of getting to this point where they're really working well,
Together.
Herrlich. Wieder ein Erlebnis mehr.
Das war perfekt.
Ja, das war wirklich perfekt.
Das war jetzt tatsächlich auch was für Kinder, weil da drinnen, zum Beispiel die Jungs, hätte vielleicht Angst gehabt. Aber dadurch, dass sie jetzt angeleint waren, du kannst selber entscheiden, wie nah du rangehst. Ja, das ist echt gut. Also. Yeah. So I just said that if the kids would have been with us, that would have been a perfect opportunity, because the boys are sometimes a little bit afraid when there are so many dogs and if they get excited and everything. But here they were still, how do you say that? They were not running free, but you could decide yourself how close you get to the dogs. It's not like you go into a kennel and then there's a bunch of dogs coming towards you. So I think that's a perfect activity to do with kids as well. And it started snowing a little bit.
After the Husky tour, Martin wanted to stop at a frozen lake.
Today we only have around minus 13 degrees Celsius, which is 10 degrees Celsius more than yesterday. But there is a slight wind, and that's actually, it feels much colder. So I guess it feels more like minus 20 degrees Celsius that we had the past days. But there was no wind yesterday and the day before. So yeah, right now I'm standing here out on the lake, and the wind, even though it's just a little bit, the wind is blowing, and it's freezing cold out here.
To be honest, I didn't really understand what fascinated him so much. But I have to admit, standing in the middle of a frozen Arctic landscape, you begin to understand the silence of the north.
But yeah, I'm gonna go over into this direction because there are little huts, kotas, and there's a fire going. So perfect to warm up again.
By the time Martin returned from his meditation walk on the lake, we got hungry. So perfect that just 10 minutes away lies probably one of the most famous places in Lapland, Santa's Salmon Place. Some people say here they serve the best salmon in the world. Well, the place was especially popular with visitors from South Korea. Let's say the salmon was indeed delicious, but after standing in the long queue in the cold, I'd argue that anything warm might have tasted wonderful.
Ready a few minutes.
With new energy, we took one last walk through Santa Claus village. Crossed the Arctic Circle once more and waved to our family at home through the live webcam. Then we even chatted with one of Santa's elves at the official post office. That night, we decided to try one last time the same frozen lake from earlier that day. And then, suddenly, the sky began to move. Green lights dancing above our heads. After days of waiting, we were finally seeing the Northern Lights. Moments like this remind you why travel is so powerful. The next morning, it was time to leave Lapland. We dropped off the car and flew back. We came to the Arctic for snow and Northern Lights. But we left with something even more valuable. Memories we will never forget.